Lesson 4, Comparing and Rounding Decimals. The first strategy that we have is called the place value chart. You can put the numbers on the place value chart and start at the one on the left, so the one on this side, and as you go from left to right, you compare the digits that you see. 0 and 0 are the same, so we need to keep going to the 10th place. 6 and 5 are different. On top, 6 is greater than 5. So, based on that, we know we can stop. Once we find the difference, we don't need to keep going. The next place values are smaller, so it doesn't even matter. So this number, 6/10, is greater. And we write an inequality statement, 6/10 is greater than 59 hundredths. The next question we'll look at asks you to compare all these different numbers to 59. We're looking for the numbers that are smaller or less than 59. So we do the same thing here that we did on the other example. First, we start on the left. As you can see, all of these are 0. So we can move on to the 10th place. The next thing we need to figure out is which one of these tenths is less than 5. If we find out which one of these is less than 5, then we have an answer. 0 is less than 5. 4 is less than 5. But 6 is not less than 5. And neither is 5. They're the same thing. So we know that these two numbers, with 0 and 4, are less than 59 hundredths. We know that 6 will never be less than 5. That's not how that works. 6 can never be less than 5. The one that we need to check is the 5. When the numbers are the same, we need to continue to the next place value. In that place value, we see a 5 again. And we compare. Is 5 less than 9? It is. So that number is also less than 59 hundredths. For this example, we are using the fraction strategy. We take our decimal numbers and turn them into fractions. The biggest thing to remember with fractions is that they need to have the same last name in order to be compared properly. So as you can see, 1 and 401 thousandths end in the thousands place, but 1 and 29 hundredths does not. As you can see, 1 and 29 hundredths can easily be changed into thousandths by placing a 0 at the end. Always remember, whatever you do to the bottom, you must do the top. So now our number is 1 and 290 thousandths. 401 is greater than 290. Therefore, this decimal is the bigger one. We'll go through this step by step. This one says write 5 and 259 thousandths and 5 and 38 thousandths as the sum of fractions. We have 5 wholes, 2 tenths, 6 hundredths, and 9 thousandths. Down here, we have 5 wholes, no tenths, 300ths, and 8,000ths. Think about this one. Why do we leave this digit out? I said that I don't have any tenths. Something to think about. And that's exactly what your next question is asking you. Why is 5 and 269 thousandths written as 4 numbers, but 5 and 38 thousandths is only written as 3 numbers? Which digit has no value? Which one of our digits has no value at all? This question is asking you to compare these two decimals to this decimal here at the bottom in blue. So what you're going to do is set up your problem the same way, and you're going to either use the greater than, less than, or equal to symbol to complete both statements. You're looking for the number that is greater than 2 5/10. That'll be your answer. Which of these numbers is greater than 2 5/10? This is when the rounding begins. Our question says Chiara runs 446 thousandths kilometer in 1 lap around the track. What is this distance rounded to the nearest hundredth? So here I have my number, as you can see. I find the hundredths place, and I have to make a decision. What are the two options? It can either stay the same, a 4, as you can see here, stays the same, 44, or it can rise or soar to 45. If you remember the rhyme that we were using in class, 4 and less, give it a rest. But 5 or more, let it soar. So we're going to look next door to see if we're going to soar or we're going to rest. Next door, I see the number 6 hanging out next door. I wonder, am I going to rest or soar? Take a look at this number line. This is also helpful. Number lines are extremely helpful for understanding where this number wants to go. As you can see, 45 hundredths is much closer than 44 hundredths. So the nearest hundredth is 45. This is another rounding question. 1 gallon is equal to about 3 and 785 thousandths liters. What is this amount rounded to the nearest tenth? That is a really important word, so I'm going to put a box around it. The nearest tenth. Well, 7 is the tenth place. And I'm going to make sure that I list my options. You can either stay at 3 and 7/10, or go up? I wonder what that other value is. I wonder what goes on this side. Once you figure out what goes on that side, and you have your two options, use the rhyme. Look next door. 4 or less, give it a rest, so stay there. But 5 or more, let it soar, and let it go up. Okay. So in this lesson, we went over strategies for comparing, such as the place value chart and rewriting decimals as fractions. And here's an example of that. We also learned how to round decimals by using a place value chart, a number line, and a really awesome rhyme. 4 or less, give it a rest, or let it rest, I should say. 5 or more, let it soar. And here's a really good example of how 2 and 56/100ths rounded to the nearest tenth really works. When I have 2 and 56/100ths, I know that I can round to 2 and 5/10 or 2 and 6/10. When I look next door, I see that there's a 6, so I'm going to let it soar because it's bigger than 5. So 2 and 56/100ths rounds to 2 and 6/10.